looks like it's almost ready to install, but I found this stud broke off. Fortunately, I have a bunch of leftover studs from this engine, the original. I just have to get the original stud out and replace it. It doesn't feel so bad. Okay. It's pretty deep, actually. It's not in there. It's not in there at all. Looks the same. See if it'll thread in. Probably need to double nut it. It's going in there. It's fitting in there nice. Okay, in there all the way. Looks pretty solid, looks pretty tight. Okay, problem number 1 has been fixed. We'll see what else needs to be done later on. After having put the engine on as sort of a mock-up, hung it from the chassis, I realized it was not going to work with that head. This is the original head. That's where it mounted. Look at the height difference there. So I had to put on the original head, which fortunately fit in every way, and now it hangs at the correct height and the correct distance down here for connecting the spring. I've hooked up this coil right here to test, see if I can get spark on the plug right there at the top of the cylinder. Let's see. Looks like I've got spark. For some reason, my spark plug has stopped firing. No spark, no nothing. So I figured this would be a good time to show you how to set the ignition timing and clean points. Let's get to it. So what you're going to want to do is take off the flywheel cover here. And you got to remember it has left-hand thread, so you turn it right to loosen it. I think people have a lot of trouble taking these off. What I found is if you just put a little bit of penetrating oil on there, let it sit overnight, it should come off easily. Alright, and there are the points. Now, you can see, when you turn this to a certain position, you should see the points begin to open. In order to set them, you're going to need feeler gauges. You're going to need to loosen this, and when they're open to their most open point, they need to be at 0.35 to 0.4 millimeters. So let's do that. Okay, so I'm going to rotate this till the points are at their furthest open, and they seem to have stopped moving. Right there is where it wants to stay. So, at that point, I'm going to loosen this screw here. Carefully without knocking my camera over. There we go. Now I'll open the points here. Insert my feeler gauge, which is at 0.381 millimeters. Tighten this screw down here. There. And there we go. Let's see if that made my spark any better. Nope. I think it's probably still kind of a weak spark because it doesn't seem to spark unless it's turning fast, but I'll continue to investigate. But before I can actually try to start it, there's a couple more things I need to order, so I'm going to turn my attention to some other problems. In the bottom of the gas tank, right there, a perfect little rust hole. I don't feel like blowing myself up today by trying to weld a gas tank. I'm going to use JB Weld. The idea here, of course, when mixing JB Weld, is to get an equal amount of both parts. Both the hardener and the steel reinforced epoxy. Ugh, got it all over my hand there. That's why I'm wearing these gloves. Actually, I've used this method before to fix a hole in this same gas tank. Seems to work very well. And to mix it, I'm going to use this old stripped off bolt, because when you mix something, or you mix JB Weld with something like this, you usually don't get the thing back when you're done. And I'm mixing a little more than I think I'll need just in case, because usually it turns out I don't have enough. Good and mixed up to be 100% certain that it's actually going to stay mixed up. You're not going to find a big pile of unmixed JB Weld right at the bottom when you scrape down there. Okay, it's mixed. Another important factor here is surface preparation. Not only do you want your surface to be clean before applying JB Weld, this is going to be hard with that carburetor in the way, but you also want to have sort of a scratchy surface for the JB Weld to stick to. Now I've already cleaned this surface here with brake cleaner and blown it off with compressed air, but I think I'm going to sand it down a little bit more too. Remove any extra paint in there and any rust that might still be staying. Goodness, it's hard to fit in there. If you're going to do this yourself, I would advise taking the carburetor off first, like I should have done. Get your hand in there much easier. Perhaps I'm just too stubborn. Or perhaps I'm just stupid. Alright, that's better. Okay, so now I'm going to once again blow it off with compressed air. Okay, now for the application of the weld. For the application, you might want something kind of flat to help you get it on there. I use this broken off flat screwdriver here. And the only reason I do that, when normally you wouldn't want to get JB weld all over your tools, because if it gets there, it's going to stay. Okay, and when I'm doing something like this, for extra added layer of security, I like to stick a small piece of metal into the JB weld over top of it, sort of to act as a patch. There. And if there's extra JB weld, I put some over top of it, and there happens to be extra in this case. There. Now what a pretty globular looking mess we've made. When it's finished drying and setting, you can sand it down and paint over top of it. And hopefully no one will ever know I had to repair it. The weld is now hard and ready to be painted over. Patch a hole in my moped tank. Now let's get it flipped over, see if I can put gas in there without any dribbles. Don't see any leakage. Tip it forward a little bit. Still nothing, should be good. Looks like the leak is fixed. You can see the engine's off here. It's because I was attaching this decompression valve here, which at first didn't want to move at all. It was rusted pretty hard. Got it with some PB Blaster, and now moves nice and easy. Pretty smooth. So I've got a decompression valve here now. This cable is actually the original clutch cable from my motorized bicycle I built. Works great as a decompression cable though. And so that should be it for now. Gotta wait for some parts to get here to do the next video.